What is good, folks? Thank you so much for sticking with us whilst we've had a little bit of a network issue. We are here, and welcome to the Games Done Quick channel, and welcome to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. Now, if you know anything about going places, you'll know that this show has gone places. We would usually be on a Saturday from 1 p.m, but now this is the brand new time, slightly behind schedule as things stand at the moment. We will be doing this from Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So welcome along. This show usually focuses, it does focus, apart from maybe an April Fool's here and there. We have a look at games that we can take on the go on our handheld consoles, and then have a look at games where we go to faraway lands. We try and have a look for region exclusive games. So a little bit niche if you haven't seen this before, but we are going to be doing some Sonic, which is where my heart really is when it comes to speedrunning. We've just come off the back of having a belated birthday blast, the Sonic community, and this is one of the games that was on there, and it's truly a game of all time, I'd say, when it comes to Sonic. But I'm here with Speedbreaker, who's going to be showing us Sonic Chronicles for the DS. Speedbreaker, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, and despite the technical difficulties, it's been an alright day so far for me. How about you?
Yeah, I've been doing well. Acclimatizing to the new time for going places, but hey, I mean, it's a show, and we get to show off some games that people might usually not see, and this is certainly one of them, because I don't think that this, we were talking beforehand, this hasn't appeared on Games Done Quick before, we don't think.
No, it hasn't actually. So this game has come awesome. A really long way.
Indeed. Well, seeing as we're a little bit behind time, you are more than welcome to just kick us straight into the game. And let's see what Chronicles has for us.
Right. Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, this category is any percent, which is we beat the game as fast as possible from a fresh file, as commonly known. So the time will start when I select a new game after this title screen. Oh yeah, and I'll be monitoring chat, so if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. Right, so time will stop when I click new game, and I'll count you in from 5,
awesome.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you, and we're off. So yeah, this game is an RPG, which has all sorts of moves which you can use, and different field abilities, which will come very handy here. And we have his son's tutorials who walk through, and we go. So there'll be some side quests we'll be doing to save time, and this titled wood mission is one of them. Oh yeah, this is Bioware. And you have to chop the wood once. Oh yeah,
the Bioware fact is always a funny one to see people sort of find out for the first time. They're like, "What? Bioware? Really?"
To be honest, I haven't heard of Bioware even until this game.
Oh, interesting.
So now we reach our...
To be fair, I don't know whether I've ever played a Bioware game. I think I've played like the tiniest bit of this game, but nowhere near enough to the skill that you're at. But hey, you're in your first battle already.
Oh yeah, we are. So this one, we don't have any power moves yet, which is what we'll be doing to unleash more powerful attacks. Alright, so that's our first battle 1, and now we have 2 power candy, which will become very useful later. So now we have been blocked by this guy on the top. And who comes but Amy? She's going to help us smash through some blocks.
Was that fight that you just had with an armadillo?
Yes, it was an armadillo. For some reason, it was enraged to start attacking Sonic.
Yeah, and how strange that it looks nothing like the armadillo that folks are more used to seeing in Sonic games. Looked a little more accurate to what we'd see in the real world, but hey, Sonic and continuity.
Yeah. So right, so we're now in our second fight now, and to start off, we start in the fleas section. So yeah, both Sonic and Amy run like really slowly. I mean, it's understandable because from a blind playthrough perspective, there's not really a tutorial for it, so this just throws us right into it. And hitting the boxes just slows you down. So once again, we just do regular attacks as normal, and let RNG take care of the rest. And it's literally RNG to determine when you attack or miss.
Nice. And in the fleeing sections, are you just, when you need to jump, are you pressing A, or are you tapping on the screen, or?
It's pretty much all touch screen. Oh, and this fight,
Okay.
This one is optional fight, take it for more XP. And this allows us to get the first power move, which we'll need for the next fight after this.
Nice.
So now we let...
Oh my gosh, an armadillo and bees that look nothing like, what we're used to.
They look pretty giant from the mouse perspective.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Amy has a huge hammer which acts as like a giant splitter. Which explains why it's actually that much more damage.
Yeah, that's very handy.
Right, so far they've been all power candies, which is very handy. And this is where we get our first power move. This time we get the Sonic Amy combo, which is the fastball. Going all the way round and get us a pair of boxing gloves.
Oh, very good.
Now I go into menu and I give them to Sonic. These will allow Sonic to do like 20% more damage. That will come very useful later.
Nice.
Before I proceed any further, I'm going to move along here and then save the game more quickly. And that's because RNG can sometimes really throw us off here. Oh yeah, Spicy Dagger, yeah. Some of the sound effects can be a bit goofy. It's absolutely true. So the story is that they're pretty much under attack by a bunch of criminals called the Marauders. And this is our first Marauder we fight. And this is where you want fastball. What we don't want is to be ambushed, like we just got here. So if you get ambushed, you ideally want him to attack Sonic, because Amy's a lot more vulnerable. She doesn't have as much health. She's not level 2. As each level go up, the health increases. So ideally you want this one round. And enemies can also do power moves too. Okay, come on. This should be gone now. Alright, so Sonic's health is very low. Quite nice.
Ooh. Nice.
So we barely just scraped through just for RNG alone. So RNG can really factor in this game. I wouldn't really say everything in this game goofy.
You mentioned that most of the controls for this game are sort of on the touchpad. Are there any that do use the directional inputs or the buttons or the shoulder buttons? Or
honestly, I don't think there is. It's purely just tapping the screen. Oh yeah. There's also, you can use the shoulder buttons to activate the build abilities. Like when you open the box, there's this exclamation mark that comes on top. like when I open the boxing glove,
Okay.
you can use the L button to do that.
Oh, interesting.
And this is why two power can be useful, because that's so Amy and one to Sonic.
Nice, yeah, that looks powerful.
And the reason fastball is used on that one is because these ones can have a chance to evade, which means you can't hit them with any attack. So right now, I might as well focus all my attack on that one, because Swapper's got self-repair. So if he gets knocked out and not all of them taken out, then it just repairs itself in this round. So that one's almost down. So you sparkle, swap bar, then everyone to attack. The other one. Come on. Just need one of them to land a single blow. And Tails lands the winning one. It's almost never Tails that lands that blow. And right now, he wants to take blow kisses Amy, and even though we don't need scan, we just do its reduced menuing. And we tell Tails to stop minus to save. Because it just takes some time. And who comes but Rouge the Bat? She's the next character we get. And believe it or not, she runs very fast. Not like Sonic, but like pretty much the fastest flying character.
Always useful to have, speedrun wise.
Well, absolutely. In fact, in one of the chapters, not going to name it just yet, but she's like very useful in that chapter. Even though most people think like, well, basically, most said Rouge is the worst character.
Oh.
And even I was surprised that when this was routed by GDQ, that Rouge was actually useful. I just read
Have you? I know we've only seen a handful of them so far, but have you got a favorite character out of the roster that we see here? Because in terms of like how many characters they get in, it's quite good for like a Sonic game of its time. Have you got a favorite out of the bunch, or are we going to find out later on when we unlock more?
At this point, I'll say it's more leaning towards Shadow, because basically the walk kick was pretty sick when it just does regular attack.
Nice.
We'll see it later on. Right now, Sonic at level 3, and I can purchase another skill, and I'll take Blue Bomber Sonic. And it's good I bump up the speed because we just need speed, and I'm gonna take one move just to stop menuing, because we'll have enough to do these two Rouge later.
Nice.
Oh yeah, bells up. Yeah, these enemies do seem to dodge a lot of attacks. Now we've got some counter to dodge.
Nicely done.
We fly. But
nice.
Not so lucky this time.
Ooh.
So when we hit an unwanted counter, we just loop it where we can. There are some that are fleeable, which will be avoiding at all costs.
It's funny that you mentioned Shadow earlier. I've been enjoying seeing some of Shadow in Sonic Prime, like the TV, Netflix series that has been out recently. I don't know if you've been able to catch any of that.
I was going to pretty much try to watch the whole thing, so I haven't seen any of them yet.
Okay. I definitely recommend, it's very much still a kids TV show, but I think the characterization of the main cast is good fun, and like I find it enjoyable. It's definitely got some good action scenes in it.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that because the animation looks good, like at least from the trailer.
Oh yeah, like it's nothing groundbreaking. It just suits like Sonic and his friends really, really well. Everything's just quite nice and fluid.
So in these swap bot fights, this is where planning really comes to handy. Because Sonic is always faster than Amy, he'll always go before her. So in order for Amy to blow Gister and power Sonic, I have to ditch one of the items first. Now you do another blue bomber. Right, Tails leveled up and we don't need anything from him. So Fastball is more powerful than Blue Bomber, but the thing is, Fastball takes too many bits and right now we've not used it twice yet, so you have to do the next best thing, and that's Blue Bomber. Right, now move all the way back into the HQ. Whenever we go into a HQ and exit, we get power bits, which is what we're doing here. Frankly, dodging that encounter is really easy. You just have to move slightly to the left of it and you can just pretty much run through it every time. So these swap bots exactly the same as last time. Ditch an item, 2 blue bombers, Amy to focus Sonic for more power. Of course, we only need one move from Amy.
It's interesting. The standout feature that a lot of people end up talking about is the music from this game, which you'll know because you speedrun quite a lot of pretty much all of the DS Sonic games. I imagine this soundtrack probably isn't near the top of the list when it comes to those titles for you.
For this specific one, for all of them, it's. Only some of them on the list, but that one specifically, no. One that will be close to it would be one of the boss music. And maybe a few others. Once again, we go back to HQ and we get another heal.
Nice.
Now I want to enter this puzzle as Rouge, because this way, when I finish, then I can fly straight across the pit. Because there's a bridge right there, and there's bees that literally come there.
Nice avoiding that encounter. Well, those encounters. This was good.
So dodging that armadillo is a bit of a close thing. So we want Sonic to go on that last switch last. That way I have as much time as possible to get across. And that way I can just do this. Please don't even get a chance to catch me.
Hey, nice.
Now we talk to Dream, and that's the activator fetch quest to find cheese. Right, I will do a Chow check later when... Oh yeah, this game has Chow, and we can go to those later.
Hey, Mate, it wouldn't be a good Sonic game if it didn't have Chow. This is, I mean, like, you're getting Chow on a handheld console. This is what all Sonic fans have wanted for years. This is the perfect game.
Last I played the game with Chow was in Sonic Generations, the 360 version.
Oh yeah, they were in the missions, weren't they? Like you could save them, as it were.
But that's just like an information Chow. Yeah, I don't think it's like a power-up Chow or anything. But I do remember it being advanced.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Sega are missing out. They could make a lot of money through a Chow mobile game. I wasn't the biggest fan of Chow's. Like in Sonic Adventure, I was more sort of focused on the story, and you know, if I have to do the Chow's for emblems, I'll do the Chow's for emblems. But I can see the appeal. I can see why people like them quite a bit.
So at least what got defended, so I did less damage. Because normally I do 50 damage, but because they defended, I did only 40 damage. So it just led to a second round. And Sonic's level 4, and now we don't need anything else from him just yet. Because we'll need those power points for later. I'm not. Oh yeah, Bell is up. Yeah, I'm not sure if they have handheld Chow, to be honest with you. So today are pretty much unavoidable. And we want to let these guys escape because we don't need this fight. Oh yeah, both this game have. Yeah, it does have ML. That was close. I almost ran into that one.
Oh wow, well dodged.
One thing that I'll do this time, which is to give Tails a power item. And the reason for that is because after that fight, Tails doesn't have a lot of power points left. When the character levels up, they automatically have their stats refilled. But as Tails didn't, his ones remained the same. So to mitigate that, I had to give Tails a power item. Right, now we're going to fourth and final fight. And each time a character levels up, they do more damage each time. So now you see Sonic do slightly more damage with these blue bombers. Actually, they're both attacked. Actually, now I'm doing 56 damage, not 50 anymore.
Nice. It's funny. We were talking about, you know, BioWare. They've got quite a. They've had quite a name for themselves by this point, and coming in and making this game. And I like I said, I don't think I'd played a BioWare game until I played this for a little bit of time. But it seems like this. Well, somebody mentioned in chat that this is the only BioWare game that they've played, which is interesting. I'm gonna probably make people feel like, why is this guy hosting? I'm gonna have a look at what games BioWare have made, because off the top of my head, I can't think of any. Mass Effect. Okay, that's a fairly big series. Yeah, that makes sense.
So sometimes the bees can just appear where you can just fly back. Sometimes they don't. Last I did this, that didn't happen, but this time they just flew right to where I was going to be. Okay, now that all four hideouts have been spotted, now we've got to go to Mystic Ruin to find Knuckles. Now run all the way down here to where Mystic would be. But instead, we run into this. Right now, the place of Mystic Ruin has been blocked off by GUN, trying to keep the area safe. And now we can head back and get the X Tornado. So now that spawns the X Tornado on the map.
Nice.
Duck Game for Life, yeah. So the reason I deliberately missed the final bit of the combo with the attacks is because if you execute it perfectly, then it gives you a perfect message which just for 2.8 seconds at the end. If it's not necessary to get it perfect, I deliberately miss one inputs to make sure it doesn't happen, and therefore we save a bit of time. It's like almost 3 seconds. And who comes with Big the Cat? He'll come very useful later too. So that this part of the game forces us to use him for good reason. Because straight away we have to use him. Because he helps us get through this poisonous gas. And once again, I want to enter this challenge as Rouge. Because once again, we have to fly straight after this. And Moog is the only one in the group that can fly.
We're getting some love for Big the Cat in the chat, which I wouldn't expect any less. We love good Big the Cat appearance.
He's got a gentle heart.
Yeah, he's a top lad. He just wants to fish. He wants to, live life at his own pace, and who can blame him, really?
Yeah. So there, get big stuff to switch, and then quickly swap to Sonic, and then it instantly transports me over here.
Nice.
So what just happened is that once Big gets off the switch, the gears fix itself. And then, once I quickly swap to Sonic, then quickly swap to Sonic before it shows that it's been completed, so that way it appears to be straight over here, instead of all the way down there. Oh yeah, this is our first RPG too. Sonic. Oh yeah, Big. Yeah, unfortunately, Big doesn't have his own spin-off, but I think he has like his own story in like some Sonic Adventure game.
Yes, he does indeed, and I mean, he has his appearance in Sonic Frontiers, which I don't think anybody expected a modern game, certainly a mainline game, to have him involved in some capacity. But hey, he's there, and he's doing what he loves best. He's fishing, so it's something you love to see.
Oh yeah, he is. I think he's even used in the Speedruns too.
Yes, he is indeed. And in fact, actually, from the hotfix side of things, not only has this game been on Summer Games Done Quick 2023, definitely worth checking on our YouTube, along with all of the other VODs from the stuff that we do. This game has been on... I'm so sorry, Amber. It's a new show. I keep forgetting the name. But this is, Sonic Frontiers has been on quite a few hotfixes, all different categories as well. 100% was on Amber's show, which is definitely worth checking out. That was by Dawn SR. Very nice. It's quite a nice sort of chilled run. And hey, it has fishing in, so it can't not be chilled, right?
Yeah, nothing like a casual fish.
Yeah, I know that people found Sonic Adventure fishing quite stressful, but it's pretty laid back and nice in Frontiers, and like they made lo-fi music for whilst it was going on as well. So definitely, if you haven't heard that, then definitely worth checking that out. And yeah, checking out the runs, because some very talented runners have shown off frontiers on the channel, and yeah, definitely worth your time. But I mean, I think people are enjoying this. It seems like it's a big throwback for a lot of people. It seems like a lot of people grew up or at one point had this game and had tried it out.
Yeah, I've been hearing about lately. Yeah, so real throwbacks to people.
And well, you mentioned it earlier that this game has come on leaps and bounds, because you've only sort of started picking this up in the last year or two, and before that this game was fairly untouched. There were a couple of runs here and there, but no real like deep optimizations, which you, along with the help of other members of the community, have helped push in recent times. Is there a bit of a history that it would be worth us knowing about?
Well, one bit of history is that I did a blind playthrough like back in October of this year, and I really got into this game with the different power moves. Right before I proceed any further, I'm going to save this real quick.
Nice.
It's been a while since I've saved the game. I've been meaning to do it, but then I just kept putting it off. Speaking of new characters, Shadow comes here.
Hey! It's looking a little bit unwell, looking a bit yellow.
Yeah.
But then so is Sonic, so maybe there's something in the air.
Yep. Looking for us, we have someone to clean up with. And what? Oh yeah, and getting into encounters, trapped encounters, so you don't want to avoid that. So right now, with the rock salt I bought 14 rock salt in case anything went wrong. So right now I double rock salt big, and I give a power candy to big as well. And big, Froggy Rain, and Knuckles defend. So just like that, it's pretty casual and easy fight. Once you with quick Froggy Rain. Right now, get everyone to defend except for Big Juice, who doesn't know the Froggy Rain and defend. And just like that, this fight's over.
Nice. Oh, big, absolute unit.
Yeah, that was all big.
What a guy.
So that left item box always contains an economizer, which is what we'll need later. But I'm going to save the squib because the dodge on the way back is much tougher. I mean, it's not that much tougher with practice, but yeah, it's a much tighter space to work with. Alright, we're out of here. After we stop re-entering doors. And we head back to Green Hill, and we talk to the shopkeeper. I mean, the salesman who cheats the shopkeeper. We get the staple back from him, and it's very important we get that because we actually, well, the shopkeeper has the device that he got from him, which happens to be the Eggman device we need. So we activate the force shield he's behind. And look at that, we found cheats.
Hey, let's go.
Right, for Sonic we get Triple Tornado in the Hellstorm. Because those very moves will just use straight after this. And those moves are extremely powerful.
Let's go.
Swap the tank to probably faster. probably wondering why I'm not using moves to fly over the gap. And the reason for that is to get Tail to level up. And also makes the character change a lot more convenient.
Oh, so flying over gaps can help with XP? So
not specifically flying, but like when I completed Cheese Quest, it gives XP and the characters available get instantly leveled up.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
So it doesn't like self-update. And this is why Amy's the most vulnerable, because she's the only one who stays level 4 while the others are level 5. And will be evidence in the next fight. You see that the others have significantly more health than she does. Up here. Oh yeah, this game does have cheese strats. And pretty much the only cheese strat is that we reduce the number of ambush we get. Because enemies can ambush us with not enough luck, and cheese increases our luck.
Okay.
So as you can see in the top screen, Amy only had 72 health, but Knuckles and Sonic have 107 and Tails has 88. Just like that, that's one down. Okay, cool.
Nice.
One more health drawing that was done. So that one was doing 27 damage at the start, and that's because that one was defending. But now Amy levels up. And on the last one, we want to take the second option, because that way we don't have to take the boy home, and we don't have an extra cutscene. Now we make our last final trip to Central City, so we can give the shopkeeper a stapler back and get the final Eggman device. Run all the way around, straight to the shop, give the stapler back, and we have all the Eggman devices we need to take out the force field that Eggman's hiding behind. Now we run all the way around and make our final HQ visit before we go find Eggman. And we head out. Let's get to 6 items real quickly, and we go.
Nice.
Okay, we've reached where Eggman's hideout is. So the final 2 fights used to be very bad before the optimizations came. So before this optimization came, we would rely on Toxic and Bomber to take care of. And these guys could evade each costing 40 seconds each. I could even have a chance of losing this fight. But with Triple Tornado, we could take them out before they have a chance to do anything. Just like.
Oh wow. Wow, that's super effective.
There's 0 chance of a
I can see that being I could see that being a very good optimization.
So now we're going to be seeing this move again, except this time we'll be using a more powerful version of it. And to do that,
Ooh.
we empower Sonic with Rock Salt. And then to block Sonic and defend. Knuckles also gives Sonic a Rock Salt. Sonic Triple Tornado and defend.
I think Amy's probably the bravest out of these lot to, sort of turn her back on the enemy and blow a kiss to Sonic. Like, I don't think many people use that as a fighting technique, but, more power to her if it works.
And just like that, all these lot are over. So as in the previous strats for this, this used to take at least 2 rounds.
Oh, okay.
And now Eggman's on our team. Not that we actually need him yet. Oh yeah, they really hated Tails. Tails on single-digit health. I actually thought that he might die.
I know a lot of classic runners wouldn't mind seeing Tails die, but I imagine he's a little more helpful to you in this than some other speedrunners might give him credit for in their runs.
Oh yeah, we pretty much used him for all the fights in Chapter 2. So yeah, having Tails die there would definitely be highly detrimental.
Now that we're seeing like a little more of the game, I don't know how I'd describe it, but the art style it's a little bit odd because we're getting our 3D character models in the hub worlds, we're getting the 2D illustrations when they're talking their dialogue, and then we have the arenas where they're 3D modeled. What are your thoughts on the art? I quite like the cartooniness of it, but I think some people might think, comparing it to other sort of realistic worlds in Sonic games, it's a little bit odd. I don't know, but you're beating Shadow up. Poor guy is not standing a chance right now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he just got taken out before he could do much.
Poor guy was just standing there like, we're gonna beat you to death.
So before I went into the second part of the fight, it's very important to take Gasker. Because it was a counter. Initially, when I went to this fight, I thought this would be easy because with Spawn, I was very wrong. Because he's the first character we faced who has a counter move. So the only reliable way to attack him is to use a power move. Okay, nice. What's this? Alright, so now we take Big and we take Knuckles. For Big, we want to get Battering Ram. And as for Shadow, we want to increase his speed and luck by 2 and get Atomic Strike 2. Very important we take this because that will be... Because for the next guys, it allows us to take them out before they have a chance to do anything. So now, before we go into this fight, we're going to dodge all these encounters forward. But I'm going to save it here in case a certain character decides to phase. And surprise, surprise, they're all echidnas. Okay, so the route is I give Sarah rocks to attack, Shadow give atomic strike, defend, Biggs uses battering ram move, and then Knuckles gives bigger rocks up to do more damage. Okay, cool. So this is our best case scenario.
Nice.
Because if Shade phases, then our attack will be ineffective. Like, she can't be hit by anything.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's all down to Big.
Come on, Big, you got this.
And he does.
Let's go. Oh, so reliable. What a guy.
Why we need to save those points for Knuckles for later. So what's happened is that Shade's literally just blocked the path, and now we have to find another way in. Fortunately for us, Eggman has his own secret hideout entry, which can get us into there without being detected. But before that, we have a puzzle to solve. So to solve this puzzle, we go to the center and find all the places where the blocks are filling. So in this case, it'll be the third one and the sixth one. We have to get this right 3 times. Any of them wrong, now we have to start again, which we don't want to do. Very important, carefully. So this is the sixth one again. The second one.
Nice.
And the fifth one. Okay, now this one's going to take all the characters. So this is the third one. The fourth one. It can't be the first one because the 2 blocks on the very right. It can be this one.
Very good.
Okay, and it's got to be the fifth one. Oh, you've cracked the code.
Nice.
I know one of my chatters really hated this puzzle, and I don't think they're the only one.
Yeah, I feel like I'd struggle with that. Was that something that took you quite a long time to like learn quickly, or yeah, how was that learning that?
So for the last one, it's easy because we use all 4 characters. We pick all the ones that it could like we can eliminate the ones that it couldn't have been.
Yeah. So you sort of work the other way around to how you'd work with the ones where it's 1 or 2, well, 2 or 3 characters.
Yeah, but for the one where it's 2 of them, we have to actually memorize the patterns, which I still haven't quite really gotten to grips with yet.
Yeah, it doesn't look easy, so I'm not surprised they blame you.
Okay, so for Amy and Tails we don't need anything, but for Rouge, this is where we take Dual Swarm 2. And Eggman we take Sabotage 2. And increase its speed by 5. Right, we go. Save this quickly. Then we can continue our journey to save Angel Island. Right. So now we see the ruins of Eggman's city. Don't know if it was done by Sonic and his team or the Marauders. Hard to know which it's been so long.
Oh, interesting.
Right, so this chapter is where Rouge really comes in handy. Okay, dodge that.
Nice.
So in this team, she's the fastest character. And the Hoof line comes as bonus because I never have to change characters when it comes to map movement.
Awesome.
So now it's not like I just run all the way where the airship is and dodge every encounter. And it's not like you just do the go thing with these. Just wait here for a bit. Just wait for that more to be in position. Just getting close. Yes.
Wow, that was very tight.
So yeah, that's about as close as I could get it because it's too tight to turn around. So I have to wait for that Lord to be out of position.
That's interesting because, like, if you compare this game to, something more like Pokemon or I don't know, no, Zelda isn't really a great example, but you have to sort of be quite up in the face of the enemies for it to trigger. So it's nice that, you get quite a bit of room around. Oh, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, I got hit with this counter. So yeah, this is one of the ones where I could just leave you alone or just turn right back. Obviously the first Perfect Man's Funny run.
It is very funny. In those chases, are you tapping every character when they need to jump?
Yep.
Okay. I think when I first saw this, I thought maybe it was only the one that was nearest you that you needed to control, but I can see, especially when it's going faster, that can be quite hard to, tap them all at the right time and make sure they're jumping.
So
nice dodge.
That area I just had to fly over everything. So I never have to change characters. Just like that, we reached our lab where we built the weapon to defeat the Marauders with. So dodging these encounters are pretty easy. You just have to run straight towards where the captain would be. Cool. So now we just fast forward twice and get everyone to defend. Now we just got to hope the guy attacks. Because if he defends, then my possible won't be enough damage to take him out. So this guy can literally half the damage by defending, which is insane.
Wow, yeah.
Right now, I just don't need anything from Speed now. I'll need those later when level up a second time. And same with Shadow. All of a sudden, these group of Marauders just jump on the ship and start attacking the weapon, and we just, for some reason, we just stand there and let it get destroyed.
Oh, yeah, come on, Sonic. Pull your finger out.
Okay, let's move. So now the weapon is built, Tails now has to come to the rescue. Before then, we need to solve a puzzle. So the way this is mapped out is that we have to go through this underground section whenever we want to go to the upper route. No, ran right into it. So now we've got to do, I believe, another fleeing section. So yeah, I was mentioning this earlier, but each encounter, once an encounter you get into, like 20 seconds. If you get into enough of them, the time really adds up. First, we talk to this guy and we solve this puzzle. I would say, for me, this one will be my most challenging one. But this is a test of memory. First, I activate the puzzle's tails. Then I get each of the characters in position accordingly. So Rouge, since she's the only other flying character and she's the fastest one, I get her to the red switch. Eggman, I get him on the yellow, and Big on blue.
It's got such a funny run.
Yeah.
Never gets old. Every time.
Alright, let's go. Block 1. Yellow, red, red. Yellow, 3 reds, blue, yellow. Nice, we got it.
Hey.
Before I used to write this down on paper. I literally have a notepad beside me and just write it down. With enough practice, I no longer need to do that, thankfully.
Nice. Yeah, it can be quite helpful, sort of writing down those sorts of notes. But if you have the ability, it is saves some time.
And paper.
And that is very true. And paper.
So first, before I go any further, I give the rubber gloves and the economizer to Rouge. The rubber gloves so Rouge can do a bit more damage. Normally, against this next boss, which should be after this, she normally doesn't do enough damage to take the other 2 guys out in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
But with the rubber gloves, we do just enough damage to do that, and the economizer, so she's able to use that move twice, because normally she wouldn't be able to. With the economizer, each of the character's power points. So the power points required to use each move is 1 power point cheaper. So the dual storm that normally takes 5 power points will now take 4. And of course that one evades. Okay, at least that one's down. So to deal with this situation, if one of them evades, is that you sabotage again on the last remaining one, get everyone else to defend. But there's a good chance this will miss too because it's evading too. Yeah. That's what I thought. So that's a bit unfortunate. It's fortunate that this robot does not have self-repair. Okay, Rouge at least landed the blow. Right, let me just Batman Man just take that one out. Right, that's better. It's very fortunate that we have Battering Ram. And we don't need anything from Big or Eggman. Right, so now we've got that weapon activated, and we can now clear a path for Sonic and the others. this is Angel Island, which is where Sonic and the others decide to stop before this story. And now we have a first look at our main villain of the game.
Ooh.
And he has a whole army of marauders. So I quickly go here to take these sparkle gloves. Oh, that was a tight one. I go down here and try to skip this.
Nice.
Nah, turned too early.
That was some good dodging up to that point, though. That was nice.
Maybe I thought that was a little too tight to blame me, but this time I pushed my luck a little. Turned it too soon. Yep, that's pretty much the Dark Brotherhood. So I'm going to open this box. This contains the health food and 2 power drinks, which we can change for more money later. Before I proceed further, I'm going to give Shadow the sparkle gloves to allow him to do slightly more damage, but necessary damage to finish a few of them off. And then save it. So over here, it looks like Amy's a bit drained, but that's after this first wave. That's not going to matter because these first guys get wiped out before they get a chance to do anything. So for Sonic, I give Shadow 1 salt. And a sack. So with 1 rock salt and Atomic Strike 2, these guys get taken out before they've got a chance to do anything. But these guys can phase like in the shade buttons. Very easy damage, just 1 round.
Nice.
Now, first I want to get uppercut through his knuckles. And with Amy, blow his 3. Right, so this is the last of Angel Island. I mean, Metropolis. Before we leave, Eggman activates his teleporter, which means we see more Eggman's funny run. Or the last of it.
Let's go. We're here for Eggman's funny run. Let's go. What an amusing guy. Well, whilst Eggman is doing his funny run, just to mention, folks, we usually have a break around this point, but seeing as we were having a little bit of technical difficulty getting this run going, we will probably be foregoing a break, but just take this opportunity, if you haven't recently, get up and have a little stretch, make sure that you're staying hydrated. If you need to take any medication, now's the time. And make sure that you're taking care of yourself as we are enjoying how swiftly Speedbreaker is getting through this run. It's interesting. I think there's a website somewhere that sort of roughly explains how long games normally sort of take on a first playthrough. Do you remember how long it took you to go through a first playthrough of this game?
I did a blind playthrough of this game, and fortunately I took a time of how long it took me, and it took me like in total 22 hours.
Oh wow. Okay, that's you managed to bring that down by like 11 times. 11 times that time. That's very impressive. 11 times that time? Or am I being silly?
No, it is. My first time is like sub 2.
Wow, that's impressive. That is very impressive.
So now these 2 moves will help us later. Not in this fight, but in the chapter. It's very important we get them now. because we get fastball 2 as to do a bit more damage, which will be required, and also kills the shadow. Which has the chance of instantly knocking out an enemy. So now the fight or fix, we take the same party as we did before. First I use 2 locusts as Amy as backup. Normally I use 1, it can defend, and then Shadows strike with won't do enough damage. So that's basically used as backup.
Nice. Better be to be safe. Yeah, I remembered the website, and somebody mentioned it in chat, how long to beat, and it seems like other people sort of had a similar playing time to you, around 20 hours to complete this. So to bring that down into a 2-hour speedrun, especially for an RPG, because RPGs can take a very long time to speedrun, and generally this is a longer speedrun than most Sonic games, but it's pretty impressive. I'm quite impressed.
I do remember this like took quite a lot of tries, but like literally on one stream, I literally got within a few attempts. That was after many fails.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But nevertheless, I'm definitely very proud, to say the least. Okay, that's nice. Nice one-rounder. It looked like Knuckles was about to die, but then realized that those guys just get taken out after one attack of strike.
And Knuckles is just built different.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He takes the least damage of all the other guys.
Oh, let's go.
Literally the toughest character.
My goat.
So what happened here is that X escaped with the Master Emerald. Sonic tried to stop him, but looks like he was a bit too tired after that fight.
Angel Island has fallen again?
For the upteenth time.
Yeah, I've lost count.
So now Shade, who was with the Marauders, now dislikes X's plan to basically take out World, and now she decides to fight with us. Now with Shade being victory peaceful locked by 6, and we get a Kingdom Rush 3. Very important to get this. Because that's a huge armor piercing move.
Oh, nice.
So the other armor piercing move that we got in this run was uppercut. What armor piercing move does is that even if they use defenses, we do the same amount of damage as if they weren't defending.
Oh, okay.
So now we go here quickly and swap. Rouge for Amy. Because we need her for fastball. So we have 3 locations to go to reactivate the generators, because Angel Island falling took out the power to the whole grid.
Oh.
Right, dodge that. Sometimes it just walks back at you, and sometimes it just walks off. I didn't really want it to walk off so that way you can just dodge it easily. I completely dodged that one. This one, on the other hand, a bit unfeasible, though it is possible. So we just flee this encounter. As long as don't hit too many boxes, it's fairly easy to do. So before I proceed any further, I'm going to save this game because this boss can be heavy on RNG.
Ooh. Well, it seems like somebody in chat is unfamiliar with Shade, the character that's recently joined the roster. Have we? Maybe we need to go in and explain what Shade has to do with the story again.
So Shade was originally pretty much the second in command to X or something, and like in the earlier fight, she was basically leading the others. And now she realized that X just wants to take over the world, not just wants to escape the Twilight Cage which they've been trapped in.
Oh dear.
And so she decides to help us. And fun fact, she's over 4,000 years old.
Oh. Of course she is. I could definitely tell.
Shocker. So Shocker gives us a chance to counter. Alright, that's nice. Alright, nice. We got a good fight again.
Nice.
Oh, that was too close. I got flipped on the wall and almost got to that encounter.
Ooh. Nicely dodged. Nicely dodged.
Now we reach chapter 7, which is where we follow X into the Twilight Cage with the dimensional buffer we get from the hazard prompt. So we've literally travelled interdimensionally. Stop X taking over the world. So with this party, this is where Shade shines. Because this is where we put Kid Dodge we can put it to good use. Now we have these guys that come through which are the run, and instantly one of them just comes out to attack us. And these guys have insanely high armor. Like, literally, even with power moves, you can't really, like, hurt them unless you use one. And it has to be specifically armor based. Just like that, that one's down.
Nice.
I remember when I played this for the first time, I was spamming revolver slams, which is also armor piercing move, but it's not as powerful as the Kid Rush is. It's not even near as powerful as that. Which is why it's just used. Right, so I need to do a few things. So first I need to give both Shade and Knuckles a Power Candy. Give Shade the Economizer. Equip and unequip rubber gloves. Sonic to equip the spark gloves. I think that's all I need to do. Yeah, I want to say this is quite like Roblox. Right, so I've got a Stingling, but I'll save this Stingling for later. Before I continue, I save this. And we go. And this time I had to use 2 Kingdom Rushes to take out 2 of these Kron. As you can see, these guys barely take any damage at all. Regular attacks.
Oof.
The attack animation is pretty slow.
I don't know whether you've mentioned or whether I've asked, but when it comes to the enemies attacking you, and in terms of, you know, how you can defend yourself with it, are all of the moves on the screen that you have to tap to, are they all predetermined? Like, will you know what's coming up, or will there be some slight randomness to them?
It's like it's always random. It's random whether they use a power move, regular attack, or if they defend.
Okay, and so as such, like, the sequence that you have to do for tapping on the screen will change, but like, are there ones that you can memorize?
Oh yeah, for all these ones, yeah, you can memorize them. It's always exactly the same.
Okay, gotcha.
But some of them are faster than others.
Yeah, I noticed that one that was moving quite fast compared to definitely some of the others that we saw earlier on in the run. So, yeah, a bit harder.
There's one specific power move which you'll see later, and some of them just moves very fast. So I dodged that encounter that was in the cave, which was hard to do. And that knocked there, that rolled up there, that's a specific setup to do. Frankly, that's really consistent. So normally I wouldn't save here, but I have had an instance of a shot of it freezing when I got into the shot. And that was a non-paced run. So at least it filters that out. So right now I need to sell a few things. Sell everything I don't need. And also make some space. So now I need 2 meters, 3 refresher waves, 6 rock salt for now, 1 earth ring, right, that's all I need for now. So apparently, X took over their world, and after he made their weapons, or they made the weapons,
Oh, it's a tough dodging game.
I thought I had that set up, but then that one just switched directions.
Yeah. Nicely done.
Good. Now bounce up and we solve the next puzzle. So this next puzzle is the only criteria of these switches is that none of the symbols can be the same. But in what order is completely random. So you just got to try combinations to see which one actually works. So if it's not the right pattern, then Sonic just bashes his head against the thing.
Oof.
What do in this game? That's
Gotta
get Amy to react with the swap the switches and then try again. Okay. Nope, these two don't work.
Well, while Speedbreaker is sorting this out, folks, don't forget that with our new schedule, there's going to be 2 more shows after this. It's been strange going from evenings of not having a show after me to now having 2 after me for the very first time. So stay tuned after when we finish this show for Grudge Match at its brand new time, and then we are going to be seeing the first ever episode, the premiere episode of the Parallel Universe, hosted by Helix and Limmy, which is very exciting that we've got more shows coming on, and they will be brilliant show hosts, I can assure you. Definitely worth sticking around the channel for a full morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. A full watch of entertainment for you. Nice escape.
So while it is possible to dodge that, it's very tough to do so, because you have to get like a really tight angle to make that escape. But only got in it selecting times, like literally less than only 2 or 3 times ever. So right now, there's no power moves that are really important. And right now, the only things to us are the luck and speed. Speed influences turn order, which is why it was important for me to have Amy faster than Shade. So that way she could get blow kiss in before Shade has a chance to do anything. That way her Echidna Rush is more powerful. And then we can do enough damage against these stronger enemies. Take them out with one shot. Oh yeah, what's in the chat? Yeah, nice.
Yes, we're trying to sort of tiptoe our way around
a
certain someone who's worked on more of the Sonic comic stuff, which is one of the reasons why this game never really saw anything beyond what happened in, well, the first game. We'll see stuff at the end that would suggest that there was a sequel that might happen to this game, but for a myriad of reasons that didn't happen. And yes, we might as well say it. We've been tiptoeing around the name, but it's Ken Penders. There's a whole host of lawsuits and stuff that Sega weren't quite prepared to take up, by the looks of it. And yes, as such, it's all very much in limbo, this game, although he didn't really work on this game at all. He's very much involved in Knuckles' story in the comics, and well, he thinks that quite a few of the characters from this game were, using his likeness, and Sega weren't prepared to really put everything into the lawsuit. But that's a history lesson that you are more than welcome to. There's plenty of coverage if you want to go and have a look at that yourself. But yeah, I mean, it's a classic sort of Sonic tale. You're like, oh, this could have been more, but it didn't really turn out to be more. But yeah, well, I guess we can dream for a moment. If this series ever did get expanded on, if it ever did get a sequel, what would you like to see from it, Speedbreaker?
Well, ideally, I would like it to pretty much fight a more powerful enemy. Something that, or with at least something with at least increased combo that better combos. I mean, these are already good.
Okay.
But something that would really blow you away.
Okay, so just a couple of improvements on things that they've done all right in this game.
Oh yeah, I mean that besides character design.
Yeah, the art can be better.
I'm way used to the modernized version, 360.
Yeah, it's dated itself quite a bit, but then there's only so much that they could do on the DS. But yeah, I mean, a Sonic RPG on modern systems, that would be wild. Because we kind of saw elements of it. It would never call itself an RPG, but Frontiers was a little bit like that. And you had the skill trees, and you could sort of do different combat stuff with that, and talking to different characters, and not quite having them on your team, but kind of, I don't know. There are some elements of it, but I wonder whether an RPG for Sonic could ever happen again.
So over here, these enemies are slightly stronger than the previous ones, so Sonic will have to compensate and give Shade the Rock Soul. And these stack up the... As with Loki, stack up the damage. This is okay. So these guys are really heavy hitters, like literally one hit and half their health is gone. Unfortunately, Kid Rush is enough to take these guys out.
Nice.
This time I take Axe Kick too. But need that for a certain fight which I will not name later.
Ooh. Well, it's interesting. Somebody in chat has asked, what game was Sega's return to form, would we say? And it depends when people, you know, because a lot of people still highly regard some of the older, some of the Sonic games that came out during, I can't remember what they call it, but like the sort of like the dark age for Sonic games. I don't know what a turning point would be for the Sonic series. I don't know whether, you know, there was a point for you, Speedbreaker, where you thought the games were kind of falling off a bit and then they picked back up at a certain point.
I would say for me, Unleashed was one of the best, and then I'd say Hot Speed's been pushed down. So that's all I just ran through. Rampart is really hard to dodge. It's really tight. So I have to get like a purple top.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd say that Unleashed was a turning point. It sort of made a formula that you could see the series going down for a little bit longer. And they did with like Generations and stuff like that. But I think one thing that speedrunning has really made me sort of appreciate is that even if the games weren't phenomenal critically or just to play in general, there's still longevity that you can take out of them, especially for some of the games that were a little more broken and a little more buggy. For example, Sonic 2006, like maybe not the best playing experience, but the fact that like the ridiculous things that you can do in a speedrun makes it almost endearing. It's strange how speedrunning can sort of breathe life into games like that, and I imagine there's some sort of feeling about this game in that regard. Not that like it's a bad game by any means, but you know, it hasn't been regarded as an amazing Sonic game, but speedrunning it, you find new appreciation for it.
I think it was like one of the first console games I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was bought for me.
Which game was that? What, 06 or
Unleashed? I got the
Unleashed
06 years later. Even though there were a ton of pitfalls, the game looked really good and was interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting is definitely the right word.
So now we have a map puzzle to solve. And once again, the number we're looking for is 6. So with that puzzle, it's first number subtract second number, then plus third number. It's just the formula for that. Oh yeah, you're welcome for the input, Wabba Ducky.
Yeah, folks, if you have any questions for Speedbreaker about this game, about the stuff that he speedruns, or just general Sonic stuff, you are more than welcome, and we will send them through, because as much as there is quite a lot of depth to this game, it's sort of getting to the point where it's a lot of fighting and just building up the characters, but there are little things happening in the story in the background. But we are more than happy to, you know, talk about Sonic, because I'd say that we're both Sonic fans, aren't we, Speedbreaker?
Absolutely. The game is definitely Sonic.
Yes. Very true. Very true. I remember looking at this game ages ago and thinking, do I do a run of it? Because I quite enjoy the sort of unique, the slightly strange Sonic games, and I think this definitely falls under that sort of umbrella, but it's unlike any other Sonic game, really, and it's definitely something interesting to take on, because you're more familiar with the platformers for the DS games, which I mean they're phenomenally well made and they make for incredible speed games. But yeah, I don't know if anybody was interested in trying this game out. What would your recommendation be to them?
Well, my recommendation is to pretty much like try as many different powers as you can. Some of them are going to be really interesting.
Okay.
And you never know like what to find. So it's quite a bit to discover.
Awesome. We've got somebody wondering how many hours, whether you know how many hours you've put into this game, because you mentioned earlier October last year is when you sort of started getting into it, so probably not as much as some of your other games, but I imagine in that less than a year there's probably a fair amount of time being put into it.
So there's a lot of blue. It really gets very blue with these Zoro armor, the rock salt. Right, I'm gonna give Sonic a healing root.
It's a nice shade of blue.
So to answer how many hours, I would say up to where I got the sub 2. I think I've lost count. It's at least 100 or something like that. Because I had a few streams of this.
Yeah.
I had many runs before getting that. So now I can Sonic 2 Rock Salt. Fantastic.
Ooh, this is interesting. I've got somebody wondering whether the DS has ever crashed during playing this game, and whether that just happens at all.
So yeah, I've definitely had that happen in the run.
Oh, oh no.
I have mentioned that I got to the Fun Colony shop and that happened. And I got pretty far.
Oh.
So the thing is, with this fight, if General Raktos defends, then I would give Sonic an extra rock salt so he could do a bit extra damage. Should he defend again, and that way he always gets defeated in 2 rounds. So we always have to double rock salt Sonic in his category to ensure that he's actually able to do enough damage. Because he wouldn't do any much damage without the double rock salt to start.
Man, Sonic cannot catch a break. It's been tough.
That's why he went on vacation the first time. Because before he went on vacation, before this game started, he could teleport Sonic and Sonic, the world's in danger, we need your help. And here we are.
Poor guy. He will never get a true vacation. Well, whilst you're doing some traveling, another question has popped up. Somebody wondering what your other favorite handheld Sonic game is. Sort of, if we take this one out of the question, I know that I've mentioned before that you like your handheld Sonic game speedruns. What would you say your favorite is? Maybe game and then speedrun if there are two different answers for that.
If I'm honest with you, they're both the same thing for actually. For game itself, it would be Rush Adventure or Rush series because it's got a lot less like it's got I wouldn't say a lot less pitfalls, but it's got less fit than Sonic Rush. Sonic is still the game still looks very good and still has the trick system, which you can do to get more boost. And I actually like it. I mean, Rush does tricks too, but the ones in Rush Adventure look better. Like very slightly, and has more content to it, like missions. So yeah, the sounds just cut out for a minute. Easy fix. That can sometimes happen with my setup. Right, sounds bad. So fortunately, the first part, we can't run into any encounters because there's no enemies yet. So for me, my favorite Sonic out is Sonic and Shadow. They're one of my favorites. People will be one of them too because of his sweet personality.
Nice.
And Knuckles because of his insane power.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who spent any amount of time near me, Knuckles is the guy. I love Knuckles. Sonic's cool. Like as far as main protagonists go, Sonic's pretty awesome. Probably not personality-wise, but I really like Silver the Hedgehog's design. I just think he looks neat. I think he looks neat, and I think sort of staying on the Echidna theme, Takal is quite cool. Mighty the Armadillo as well. I like the strong boys. They are cool characters. And yeah, with everybody mentioning like different handheld Sonic games, I feel kind of gutted that like I only grew up with a PC when it came to gaming, and I didn't really know all too much about emulation and such. And yeah, like seeing, especially through speedrunning, seeing all the different handheld Sonic games, the ones for the DS, Game Boy, Game Gear as well, even some mobile games, not as quite easy to speedrun. They're usually more sort of how long can you play the game instead of how long can you complete the game. Sonic series has done fairly well when it comes to handheld stuff, and yeah, I feel like it's something that I need to go back and try out, especially like the advanced games. People hold them in very high regard.
So yeah, I don't know if so Sonic almost died in that fight. I thought for a moment that he would, but thankfully saved by the skin of her teeth.
Nice.
So first things first, we need to give Shade the Earthring back so that way we don't have to use any more rock salt. And Sonic we want to give signaling to, because he seems to well for the main cause of trouble here, which is the overmind being basically the same for this world. So we can actually get that in one round. Normally I would do it showers, because waiting for shower is a bit long. Oh yeah, I also need to use the refresher wave, which I've got to do. It's very crucial we get that done.
Nice. Oh, it's interesting. We're getting some love for Tails in the chat. Amy and Sonic as well. Shadow Cream and Amy once again. Big the Cat, of course, very important, and Froggy. You can't go one place and not have the other.
Right, so that the counter we don't want to get into, and thankfully we didn't get ambushed there. Because then we can boost health and back-to-back fight on the next upcoming fights. I mean, there's only 2, but this one, these guys are stronger than the previous one. Now use 2 boss balls with that one. And chase 2 echidna rushes. Oh, cool. So now Sonic's so fast that he can literally go try to support any other character. Now I'm just waiting on one more hit rush and we're done. One more thing I haven't mentioned yet is that with the Chow Ferox, you could also complete power move. So execution will be unnecessary, but it just doesn't bore you.
Oh. Wow, that's super neat.
After this, I'm going to do a Chow check and see if we have him. If you've got Ferox, then that would help.
Ooh.
Because not only will that also complete power moves, but the perfect message at the end is automatically gone. Because we technically didn't execute anything.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you definitely need to play this game. It's pretty good. Oh yeah, it's Chow menu. Let's go to. Okay, we don't have Ferox. Oh well. I did play this blind, and I really like this a lot. So I think it should be something you should discover for yourself. Never know what you can find.
Indeed, and you know, not everybody has a DS, or I believe you run on a 3DS.
But yeah, I run this on the 3DS.
Yeah, so folks might not have a DS or a 3DS, but when it comes to speedrunning, you know, emulator is always accepted as well. I think the categories are split between the two, but yeah, in terms of accessibility, speedrun wise and non-speedrun wise, this is a game that you can definitely try out. And you know, I've spent all this time saying people should try it out. I should try it out. I'm telling myself now that I should try it out.
I mean, at least, you can get this on emulator, and you've seen others stream it on emulator, and it's okay. But instead of using a touchpad, you can use the mouse.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder, but you're still getting the core gameplay out of it. And of course, if you have like a graphics tablet or something, it's interesting. I've heard from people who run on DS emulator games, and that works quite well for them. If they have like a graphics tablet and a pen, they do it with stuff like that, which is interesting. Oh, the big speedrun question. Helix has dropped off. Do you know if the load times are particularly different between consoles? I imagine this is something that hasn't been looked at as much, but you might happen to know. Do you know at all, Speedbreaker, whether it's faster on DS or 3DS, or what the situation is with that?
So with that, I'm gonna leave that one out first and then jump in. So to answer that, we haven't really done like a test with the emulator to see if there's a load difference.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so we've been ambushed. Oh dear.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
R.I.P. Sonic.
Yeah,
We lost a real one.
Definitely rip Sonic.
Come on, Amy. Shade and Knuckles, you got this.
So that one goes really fast. So the real threat is the yellow one. Because that one... Oh no. So I just missed that combo. That's the consequence of that, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Ah.
So that's what happens when you miss a combo. When you miss a combo, then you lose damage. Right now, it needs to get Sonic to heal himself. So this one and Eggbot have less than a 50% chance of winning the fight. Which doesn't sound great. As you saw just now, this can happen. Yeah. Oh yeah, Dan's rock salt song. And one more thing, I'm going to get into the Fashion Wave. So thankfully I've got more than enough money to get more. Not getting me some Sonic, in case anything goes wrong. So now I'm basically back in strat mode. Right, so right now we need to heal Amy. So this is why I use another health route, which is on this, which I normally would. Now you say to, I'm going to use a backup beginner rush in case anything. Okay, I don't need any more fastballs now. Now this one's down to Shade. And just like that, it's all.
Nice.
Yeah, the sounds they make when they take damage, yes, it's funny. It's a bit strange. So that Gizoid, which are those ML looking things. That one looks like it's gonna come at you. But we could just literally just run past it like it's nothing. It's like it reacts very late. Makes our movements. Alright, so we're now in the final chapter, and now us and the other aliens are hatching the master plan to take down Nix. But if this goes well, then we could see a straight line dodge.
Ooh. Let's hope so.
Like that.
Nice.
And the thing is, I found that out, and I wasn't even trying to look for anything. And it just worked. So I just flipped it and then just tried it for real. And it works too.
Nice.
I still have yet to make a playlist of all the dodges I made here. There are videos of me getting all the dodges, but I still have yet to make a playlist. Okay. So right now we need to I'm going to get 2 refresher waves. We need 12 rock salts. Sell a few more stuff that we don't need. Okay, so we don't need the economizer anymore. Sticky water. All the antidotes. Don't know if we need the revival rings, but I'll sell some of these. At least 2 of these gum. Get a few more rock salts. That's pretty much the cover for if there's any deaths or anything. Because what if you die, then it pretty much takes all the items you've already used in that. So it's pretty much for quicker for resetting. And by the way, when you get over there, second time that water there doesn't chase you anymore. You still have to dodge it. You can't run into it and then expect nothing to happen because it just puts that counter in. Okay, so this is a point of no return. The big finale. Here, the evil lair. No point of no return. And now we have these two Gizoids. These guys are actually the prefects of this area. So the red one is Skiller, and the blue one is Cherub. And strange enough, Sonic, who is blue, and Knuckles, who is red, face the red and blue one respectively.
Ah.
Just gonna get some power for the sake of it. Not that we actually need them. And green, we get refresh for the sake of it. And demoralize, which distracts the enemy. Shadow, we don't need the speed, and we don't really need anything from him. But why not get max of these power moves?
It's funny. People are slowly picking up the music that's happening in this zone. If you guessed Big Arms music, then you would be right. This is a slightly different rendition of Big Arms, but it's trying its best.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool. It's okay.
Gets the job done.
I prefer. Must be chasing us, and we don't want any encounters. Luck interchange between teams. Right now, I want to play Shadow as much as possible because on that team, he's the fastest character. The reason we take Cream instead of Rue just because Cream has actually one move. Each different character has different number of moves they can use. Sonic and Shadow are the only ones that get 3. There's 5 characters that get 2, and biggest one of the other characters gets only 1 move per round. So far, we need to hit the switch to deactivate this turret, so nothing can get past, and the force field on the side. Alright, that caught me.
Wow, these guys have got health.
So these guys have a lot of health. And they look bigger as well.
Yeah, I can see why you'd want to try and escape from those lot.
Fortunately for us, it's not attracting counters.
Yeah. Nicely done.
Now we meet these different Gizoids, which are Gizzo Centurions. And these guys ambush us every time.
Nice, some Merle looking things.
So this is scripted as they have these shields on, and you can't damage them with. If I stun them,
wow, yeah, only two damage.
Then they lose all their turns for the next round. Right, I didn't manage to steal that one's turn. So I just need to repower Knuckles. Then use a Madamator to heal the other characters.
Nice. Oof.
So yeah, Knuckles is having trouble beating these lot because he can't get past their shields. So as the other team cannot fight them with the shields, Sonic and his team have to inspect the Gizoids so they can find a way to deactivate their force field. Alright, so that's the first one. Yeah, me neither. I don't know any game with a bad soundtrack. Sonic game. So by using that field, I can take advantage of that and should just walk right through that Gizoid without activating that encounter. This is the last one. No, the shields are gone. Let's go. Okay, now we just need the Shane Knuckles to take care of this. Right, one easy takedown, one to go. Nice. Just like that, there's two right here. Right, before I go on, I use another refresher wave to repower the whole team. Mostly Shade and Knuckles since they use power moves. So it instantly gives a full booster bar. Right, and Skiller gets the drop on them. But we don't fight him just yet. Pick it up, and we go down. And we go. So now this was dodge.
Oh, nice move. When, like, can you get to a certain point to them where, like, they'll start following you? Is that what you were trying to do there? You were sort of trying to bait it in and then go around it?
Yeah, because normally it comes over towards me, but it wasn't doing that, so I needed the bait to come towards me so I could go around it.
Nice. Oh no. I mean, Sonic games and water levels, it's got to happen, but ugh, this doesn't look fun.
So the blue gauge, which is a power meter, that's what we used to bring. So with Child's attacks, he has 3 moves per round. And this attack move, which is his fan, he uses it to fire a beam. This is pretty much unblockable. So just like that, Amy's gone in 2 hits. So underwater, Child is pretty much invincible. Because your attacks don't work and you can't use power moves either. As long as the whole, so it's pretty much a survival. I like this, like this boss theme quite a bit more than some of the other ones. Right, so I've got 2 casualties, but thankfully it's not going to matter once we fight him for real.
Oh, that boss theme wasn't too bad.
Right, so now we fight Skiller. And we're going to make use of 2 rock salts. Right, now I get Creeps to defend, because their health is a little low. And Skiller can do like 125 damage per hit. Yeah, with this fan move. So when the Skiller hits them with a fan, the character gets weakened. But fortunately, the Rock Salt does reverse that status somehow. Because normally we would need an antidote for that, but Rock Salt can reverse it for some reason. Who knew?
Ah, interesting.
Right, Skiller's down, and before I proceed any further, I need to repower Knuckles. And the reason for this is that after we need to use 2 Wicked Rushes in the round, and Knuckles do not just have enough power. Let me hit that switch to deactivate the water. Oh yeah, Vector Saber, this was a Sonic RPG. On the DS. So right now, I use Sonic Use Madness straight away, and I use Rocks and Sonic. So this is a classic, give all your power to Sonic's theory. And Amy uses Sonic, and Sonic uses Fastball. Nice. Just like that, Cloud's out of it. So immunity is pretty much his defense move. But with the Earth Chow, which I just realized now, you can do a bit more damage to mitigate that. It wouldn't be so easily mitigated if it was Chowless, because you could do barely enough damage to finish him off. So before I leave this area, I run into the switch to activate that dialogue, and this way I can activate the cutscenes as if I've already reached the final area. Just like that, we skipped the final section. Oh yeah, Pyro 7, yeah. Haven't really seen that either. Oh. Now it goes to the final room and face off against the final Lex. So this upcoming fight can be very dangerous.
Oh, Knuckles squaring up already.
So now, a quick look at Nocturne before it was renovated into the evil lair, and Knuckles challenges him with all his power.
Come on, Knuckles.
Okay, Knuckles survived.
Let's go.
Now you sits out the shadow with ambush by getting between two to one. So well, he does get Chaos Spear. But no, he doesn't. Shadow doesn't get a gun. Right, that worked first try. So it's powerful and always ambushes you. And it's the same with Sonic Team, because Sonic Team has to face him now. Let's go. Oh, damn. What's that have to?
Ouch.
Maybe he's over half dead. Self with Amy. Then Rock Salt. You know what? Just relax this kick. His home gets taken out and comes with the regular attack, and then he gets counted pretty hard. Yeah, like that. But somehow I saw that coming. The Sonic can't do nearly as much damage without the fastball Amy's blow kiss. Oh yeah, the Rock Salt I kept in case anything went wrong. Now was the time to use it. Now I see the return of Blue Bomber. So we're pretty much in back to stress mode. Okay, it's like power drinks, it's on it. Defend. Alright, now just mesh out the ass kicks.
Yeah, let's go, Sonic.
It's just by the skin of our teeth. Whole teeth literally almost got to like.
Nicely done.
Now, wow. I think that's the closest I've ever been to dying here. Without actually dying. So now will be the second to last X fight, where I have a whole team now, except for Knuckles, because he went after the last Emerald. X and his team is after him, so we got to get to him first before they get to Knuckles. So the pattern is just a set pattern on these running sections. So you saw to double rocks on himself. And Shade, I get her to Sonic and give the power drink to Amy. Big, I just get him to give the rock salt to Sonic. And then fast forward to instantly take out X.
Nice.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the closest, like, oh yeah, to any RPG. Absolutely.
And that, by comparison, was fairly straightforward. Well, so far. Still got the other two enemies.
Thankfully, he's not so tough without his throne.
Yeah, that is good.
And fast forward again. Take up that one.
Nice.
Okay, now for the Supersonic. So now,
Let's go.
yep, let's go. We have the Master Emerald back. But wait, X has a trick up his sleeve.
Typical.
And to solve it, we go Supersonic.
Let's go. I'm amused that the developers didn't really bother with showing how much HP they have. They just put sort of question marks. But nicely done, nicely done.
This was a bit of a spoiler. Like, it wouldn't really matter how much health he had. He's just going to get taken out as long as we did it perfectly.
Yeah, and you did that. You did that very nicely. Well done.
So like that, X is defeated. And now he's pretty much closed the port, tried to close the portal, and we narrowly escape. And it looks like Eggman's taken over the world while we were gone. Surprised he did that in a short space of time.
Devil works quick, but Eggman works quicker.
Yeah. Guess he had it in him, just not more Sonic and others around.
He was ready.
And time.
GG. Nicely done. Well done for pulling through that after our technical difficulties for the starting off going places, but that looks like it was clocking at a 2:11:47 on our end, which is well under your estimate, which is always nice to see.
Yeah, the estimate is pretty much to compensate for some of the bad RNG. Like Eggbot, we didn't see that there. It could literally like cost us 2 minutes per death.
Oh wow.
So we need to mitigate for that. Yeah, thank you guys for the GGs. Really enjoyed like running this category, because this category is pretty interesting. Oh yeah, I do have some new Game Plus runs out, and amazing enough, it's like half an hour faster than the next category.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, if people are interested in that and more of your runs, whereabouts can they find you?
Well, you can see my Twitch channel at SB55, where I currently have been back to the Rush series, and yeah, I could put some Chronicles along the way, which for some more handheld series. And my YouTube channel is Speedmaker55, where you'll find me there and putting out some more runs out there.
Awesome. And then I know we mentioned it earlier, but just to round off, if anybody's interested in this game in any capacity, whether they just want to try it out or whether they want to run it, I'm sorry, my Sonic has caught my attention. His idle animation is amazing. But if people are interested in the game, how can they get stuck in? Where can they find out information about it?
Well, one information that they can find out is to check out 9K4's 20% route. It's pretty optimized, but yeah, it's pretty fun to try it out, and also try your own spins to it. Like, for example, I tried my own spins to certain stuff to find out certain backup for in case things went wrong. Like the Overmind fight we had earlier, where somebody was instantly knocked out, so I need to find a suitable backup for that. So yeah, it's pretty fun to find, and yeah, try different things and see what works for you. Awesome.
Well, Speedbreaker, thank you so much for showing this off and for, as we were saying, persevering through our tech issues. Folks, we would usually call that an end of the show and pass on to the next, but we do actually have one more run waiting in the wings. There we go. Which is a game that it fits into the region exclusive aspect of this show. It was a game that didn't come out in Asia region. It's one that got released in Europe and released in the US. So it received an English release, but didn't see much beyond that. Sonic's Gameworld. If you don't know anything about this, you're about to learn, because we are about to play a game that revolves around a book. Yeah, you heard that right. We will see you after a short break, and then we will finish off Going Places with a treat, a true treat. So see you in a second. Welcome back, folks. Once again, this is Going Places. This is the Games Done Quick hotfix that goes around the speedrun landscape. We have a look at games that we can take on the go on our handheld consoles, and then we travel to perhaps foreign lands where games didn't get a global release. Before we finish off this little Sonic-based episode on this new time for Going Places, just a little reminder about different things that are happening around the Games Done Quick sphere. We've got a Frame Fatales, which is the Games Done Quick's all-woman online speedrunning community. Keep in mind the upcoming event Flame Fatales will run from August 13th to the 20th. The schedule is now out at gamesdonequick.com/schedule. And while you're checking out the schedule, feel free to submit a prize if you happen to have one. And you can use !FF in the Twitch chat to submit your prizes. The last day to submit the prizes will be on August the 6th. And whilst we're here, Games Done Quick is also hiring. So if you have any experience with website design and development and would like to help overhaul our website, or have experience in social media creation and want to help out at our live events, be sure to go to gamesdonequick.com/jobs to apply. Well, I'm going to be out of a job if the whole world is going to see what my talent is writing about me on their games. I can't believe that Broken Hyperlink would write Hib Stinky. I invite you on to you're underlining it now. Yeah. I invite you onto the show. This is what I get in return. Oh. Richard's pinned it. Oh my gosh, right. Linky, put me out of my misery. Please explain this game.
Hiya, so I'm Broken Hyperlink, and this is Sonic's Gameworld for the Sega Pico. The Pico is, as I would like to describe it, a stripped-down, diet version of a Sega Genesis, where some parts have been removed, other parts have been added in to make this essentially like a laptop-esque console, where you have the what would be the screen is where you put your cartridge in, and the cartridge also has a little book that you will flip, which you will see as my webcam. And you'll see the pages change as I play. And the bottom is a drawing pad, so as you can see here, I was able to draw this masterpiece. But what I'm using right now is I'm not actually using the Sega Pico because they barely exist, let's be honest, especially in Europe. So I'm using the Pico Drive, a very handy little emulator which allows me to also draw on the main drawing pad, because for some reason this has been hard coded to have a very small screen for on the drawing pad because of the actual images. But I'm able to make the gameplay screen massive, as big as I want, so I like to use that because it gives me a lot more space to work with. So we are going to get rid of the masterpiece. Are you sure? Yeah.
Thank God.
So this is Sonic's Gameworld. The amazing intro. It's supposed to be an edutainment game, but from what I've played, there's no education. Entertainment's up for debate. So we'll go one player easy. Is this okay? Yes. And we're going to play as Amy because Amy does not get enough love. So we are going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So as you've seen, I preemptively changed the page just because it saves us a little bit of time. And our first mini game, this is a mini game collection by the way, is hoops, where I have to try and get the basketball into these anthropomorphic. Oh no, I missed! So the category is max score, so naturally I want to try and begin the most points. We'll go a little bit slow here. You can't get 2 shots in for every single one.
Okay.
Now, the funny thing is, if you're doing it, trying to get the very, very early one, you actually have to be a little bit slow. If you go too fast, you will miss. And I do have to take my time here as well, because I can exit out of a game too early and not get the points.
Oh.
So skee ball is exactly how you would think skee ball works. I'm ideally trying to get the 50s because I think the ball not only moves faster, but you also move further along the track. I will be trying to hit a 30 here. Good, okay. Because from what I've seen, you only need about 280 points, so there's no point getting the 50. You have to wait for it to cycle back around. So try and get a 30, spam to get the 50, and then that saves us a little bit of time. And that's our second mini game done already. And now we have tree climb. Any coconuts fans? Any coconut fans in chat?
Any coconutters in chat?
So here we have a minute to try and get the highest score. Now this, if you noticed on the little introductory screen, it shows you the controls and they're flashing. I may be doing it too fast for you to see, but there are a total of 5 buttons you can press. There's the big massive button, which is essentially, you know, like the A button on a controller. I'm not going to do any more here. I'm going to sit at 17. But for this mini game, I was just pressing one button, one hand. I could do whatever I want with my other hand if I wanted. I can take a drink. I can hold my Sonic plush. Can do many things.
Very important. He must be held.
He must be.
Oh, the race. Let's go.
Another one-handed game where I just...
Let's go.
So that's page 1 done. We go to page 2. And the main reason why we're playing on the Pico Drive is, whilst you can open this game up on like Fusion and RetroArch and stuff, the touchscreen obviously isn't an input device for those things, as well as there not being an option to change the screen. So, you know, many people think, oh yeah, I can play this game, and then when they go to play it, they're like, wait, this game's broken. So right now, page 2, we're playing flags. Oh, that was a bit dodgy. Like any game, it could drop inputs, so you have to be careful. It happens. I'm going to take this one very slow, because this is a physics game on a Genesis, essentially. It could be very like that people would have said that didn't count, but it does. The game can decide just to not pick something up if it decides, no, you may be 1 pixel too far. So I
Sounds
always,
like real life, really, doesn't it?
I'm always terrified of this game and runs. For me, this would probably be one of my make or breaks. I also don't know the hitboxes, because Tails looks very wide compared to the others, because he's like lying on his back, but
does.
we got it. We got that perfect bonus.
Let's go.
Let's go. Now, Dr. Robotnik Bob, the emulator did freak out. There's sometimes the game, maybe I'm clicking too quickly or something for the game, but I have to like reset the gamepad being the main screen. But it's just whack-a-mole. It's a good stress reliever. I'm going to stop at 21. I don't need to do any more. I can have a little rest. But a little fun fact actually about this game. If I am correct, this is the first game to reference Dr. Robotnik as both Robotnik and Eggman, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I had to get a few extra.
This was a good 3-4 years off adventure where, you know, people started to clock, oh yeah, they call him Eggman? Question mark?
Mm-hmm. Very odd decision to have it be this game of all games.
There are the eggs.
Here are the eggs. You'll see me constantly move the mouse, because if I don't, the mouse will go to the bottom corner, just to try and like keep itself active in a way. And I don't want that to happen, because I will lose track of the egg. My memory is not that good. Especially at
and it's
midnight.
getting... I was about to say, it's getting late over here, so I totally get you.
Also, I hope everyone's enjoying Robotnik's very red face. Chad, why is Robotnik very red?
It's a bit sunburnt, poor guy. I wonder where he's been. He's gonna had a holiday out in Magaluf.
Another weird thing is, why is Eggman playing games with us? There's no money in this game.
Full world domination, I don't think, unless, you know, he starts with a simple memory game. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's Eggman, and it's the Sonic series. It's wild.
So that's the 4 matches done, and now we come to the true run killers. First up, concentration, and I didn't get the match I wanted. So I've, at least to my knowledge, there's maybe about 10 patterns.
Okay.
And whilst I could learn them all, okay, I can do this one. I've only learned 2 because of where I pick the first 2 cards from. I ideally don't want to make any mistakes, or I can only make 1. Okay, so that's the first mistake. Oh. Okay, so should be... Oh no!
Oh!
This game is completely RNG, especially once it gets to that ending, so I just have to hope and pray. Okay, this is the other one I know as well, thank God.
Let's go.
So I can make 1 mistake. Ideally, I don't want to because it loses time. But...
Ooh, hey.
Okay, redemption.
Let's go.
Annoying thing is I do have to match those final 2 cards, even though it's obvious they are the final pair. And now to the final mini game, which is versus Dr. Robotnik, where I have to do the really annoying thing of having to physically move my mouse to hit the buttons. I don't know why they chose this, and I'm not doing well. Oh no. I ideally want this to land on Sonic, because it then allows me to throw a rain at Eggman for some reason. Oh, I'm just not getting it. It's just not happening. It's honestly too fast to properly try and time. Oh, is this the first one?
Hey, let's go.
So I only need to hit Robotnik
Ooh, another
5
one.
times. Oh, 2 in a row.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Surely not the 3.
Oh!
Let's go.
Yes!
4. Can we get a 4? Oh.
Oh my god, this is
the
it.
4.
Get ready for the
There's
final
no
hit
way.
because it's funny.
There's
it's not
no
time,
way.
but it's funny.
Oh.
Okay, the rings give me health, which it's not the worst, but it's a time loss, so don't want to see them necessarily. The question mark, if you can be, up to chance. I've noticed that it will go for the person it hasn't went for. Oh, I couldn't get the 5 for 5. This is so sad. I'm choking. Oh no.
No.
It doesn't help the fact that, like I said, I do have to move my cursor over.
Oh, that's looking good.
Oh, there we go. Goodbye.
He's dead. Wow,
he
he
just
went flying.
levitates. And now we're on to the boss fight. So you haven't seen it much, but I do have a directional pad in this game. As you can see now, I am going some directions.
I forgot how good this was.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so this one, this boss fight, it's not letting me move. We have to try and find all 5 emeralds. It's not 7, it's 5, chat. And what we're ideally trying to do is cut Robotnik off. Oh, so there's a 4th one. Get ready with time, please. And there's time. So we're trying to cut him off because we can go other places, but we ideally don't want Robotnik to get any because it's slow. We're faster. As soon as we find the emerald, we can just leave the level. Well, he, I think, will still probably float about the place. I don't know. I just immediately leave if he does get one. And it doesn't matter if he does. We ideally just want to have the majority. So long as we have 3, at least we're fine. But here's the credits because we have completed the game. We did it. We learned things. But it's a really fun, quick, and easy game to pick up. I just picked this up on a whim. I don't know what came over me, but I'm glad I did because now we have a leaderboard for the emulator. There wasn't one originally before I started running this, and is our favourite coming up? There he is, Chad.
There's
our boy.
What a guy.
So, if you want to pick this up, like I said, the emulator is called Pico Drive. You can find the game in places. But
in your local game dealership, I'm sure.
Yeah. And it's very easy just to set up. You just, like anything, drag, drop. It knows what it's doing. And also make sure you do main window as pad. It makes your life so much easier than using the tiny little grid in the corner of my screen. But that's everything. I actually only found out recently as well that there's some slight differences between the Japanese version and the American version. This did not come out in Europe, which is why we're here.
I bet it's that way round. I was just like, oh wait, was this a global release? Not quite. Almost.
But the final 2 pages, at least on this, are 2 drawing pages. I am changing the pages. You just can't see it, but I'm flipping between 5 and 6. That's because I think these final pages were where the education was in the Japanese version, but also the gambling. And we can't have kids learn gambling at the ripe young age of 2.
Yeah.
So we just got a colouring book where I can write stuff. GDQ. There we go. I did it.
How cute. Well, if folks want to, you've already mentioned how to get going on the game. If folks want to see what other educational Sonic games you're getting up to, because I know that this isn't the only one, where can they find you and your antics?
You can find me pretty much anywhere at Broken Hyperlink. Like here, I've on Twitch, I've been trying to get a bunch of world records in God, what's the game called again? Sonic Schoolhouse. Another questionable game for its entertainment value. And it's been fun. I've been trying to set really competitive times because I ideally don't want to be coming back to the game. As you can imagine, you know
it's love. It's love for a video game. It's just like, please, I don't want to touch it ever again.
When you grind it down to frames, you really don't want to come back to it if you can help it. I also play Sonic Racer, which is a game of all time.
Truly.
But I do play some good games. I do play the likes of Tales Adventure. I actually play Sonic at the Olympic Games as well, which I would say is pretty fun. It's pretty good. It's recent. I do want to play other games that aren't short or bad or niche, I guess. But that's for the future. I'll get around to them in my own time. But like I said, you can find me everywhere, in most platforms, I think, under Broken Hyperlink. I'm in a lot of Discord servers, especially Sonic ones, so if you're in maybe at least one of them, I'm more than likely there. And if not, someone probably knows me and my antics. But just quick shout outs. Thank you, GDQ, for letting me on with this silly little short game. Club 601 and everyone else in it. It's a great bunch of people. All my personal friends and everyone that lurks in my streams, because like I said, I know these aren't interesting to watch, especially when I'm playing a 3-second category. But everything helps. It's all appreciated. And I love the community, and I love GDQ. Look, I even wrote it.
Oh, let's go. Well, thank you for getting almost everybody in chat to tell me that I stink. I guess so.
My work here is done.
Folks, we are going to be leaving Going Places there for the night. Thank you for making our first Friday evening shift one to remember. Big thank you once again to Speedbreaker and Speedbreaker and Broken Hyperlink for showing off some Sonic action. Reminder that if you didn't manage to make if you didn't see the rest of this episode, this will be going up on our YouTube in due course. But may I remind you that this is not Hotfix over for the night. We are going to be having Grudge Match after this. It's definitely very interesting. There's going to be some Monkey Ball. And speaking of Monkey Ball, you might know Helix from Monkey Ball. Well, Helix and Limmy have both got their own show now, showing off, I believe, let me have a look, Parallel Universe, that's what it is. So showing off ROM hacks and mods, I believe, is the main premise of it, but I'll let them explain it much better details in about 3 hours or so. But first, it's going to be Recentia and crew showing off Grudge Match. Folks, see you soon. Enjoy the rest of the entertainment for the night.